Why does this keep telling me I'm out? It keeps telling me, oh, you're out of storage. I shouldn't be out. Okay, it's really good. Okay. Good morning, guys. Whoa. Morning, good morning, good morning. How is everybody doing this morning? I hope everybody's having a great Sunday morning. Guys, you don't know if it's Sunday morning. I usually do Sunday morning live on a Sunday morning. Um, I know we're gonna read the Bible first and then we see what we can do after that. Cause I'm on a different kind of schedule. So, we're not gonna be able to do all that we usually do. But nonetheless, we are going to do what we can. We're gonna take it. Kai, what's up? Good morning. Good morning, sis. Good morning. How's it going? Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Guys, roll on in. We are going to be, yeah, I'm doing a million things at the same time, but we are, where did this water come from? Which water dripping from? Yeah, we are going to be reading the final chapters of the book of Job today, and then tomorrow we will start the book of Psalms. And right now, as we have read the book of Job so far, the emotions have been a bit labile in the book of Job, you know, but nonetheless, it is a great book. It's a book that is used to highlight hope and trust and perseverance. And so nothing is wrong with those traits. Those are admirable traits for anybody to possess and to express. And so in these two last chapters, we're going to see how God communicated with Job about his condition and their relationship moving forward. Yesterday, as we read chapters 37, 38, and 39, we saw where, God was adamant to let Job understand that, you don't question me, because you don't understand. You don't understand my position. You don't understand my authority. You don't understand my abilities. You will never understand. And even if you live to be a very, very old man, you will not understand it through age, and you will not understand it by being told about it, because there is no other man who will ever be able to explain to you my position, because it is not for man to understand. You don't understand how the sun shines or when it shines. You don't understand how the clouds cover the sun sometimes. You don't understand how lightning and thunder is formed. You don't understand how the oceans roar as they do, and how their limits. You just don't understand. You don't understand the stars, how the stars are aligned in the skies. You don't understand how the wind blows, how the trees know to grow. You just don't understand, and you never will. So with that lack of understanding, God is saying to Job, you as an ordinary man got no business questioning me. And don't question my authority. I have the ability to make you sick, and I have the ability to make you well. And I will choose to do either at my own at my own will. And so And so poor Job had to just sit there and listen as God sort of put him in his place, if you ask me. Sort of put him in his place. And Job was not out of line for asking the questions that he asked, because those are questions that any human being, those are questions that any human being would ask if they ever found themselves in the predicament, in the types of predicament that Job found himself in. As there's no way that if you found yourself sick, there's no way that if you found yourself afflicted like Job was afflicted, that you wouldn't ask questions, that you wouldn't have concerns. And because you serve this Almighty God who is responsible for all the happenings in your life and is capable to do the yeas and the nays, there's absolutely no reason why you wouldn't want to question him, that you wouldn't want to ask him, why? Why am I afflicted like this? What is it that I've done wrong? There's no way that you would ask these questions. And so Job was no different. He was asking these questions as well. And so this morning, guys, we're going to be reading Job chapters 40 and 41. If you get your book Bible or your Google Bible, whichever one is closer to you, get your book Bible or your Google Bible and let us read. And let us read the book of Job. Now, for those of you who are just coming, what's up, son? For those of you who are just coming, please be reminded that we do not endorse any particular religion or any particular denomination over here. What we do is we are trying to read the Bible on our own for ourselves so that we have an understanding of what is in the Bible for ourselves rather than being told, because after all our lives we have been told what is in the Bible, and it's about time that we take a minute. This has been taking us now a few months. Take a few months to read the Bible yourself so that you know what is in there and what is not. And that is rather important to all of us because the Bible is so influential on every single aspect of our lives. I see my friend Cooking with Net there. Cooking with Net, how are you doing, my love? So good to see you. Thank you for stopping by, my darling. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you're having a great Sunday morning. Watch, I had even left this book here. I didn't even know, but no, that I left it here. Yeah, so if you have your book Bible or your Google Bible, guys, turn with me to Job chapter 40 and let us begin. I see Cooking with Net. I see my darling Jojo is here. Cad is here. Welcome, guys. Thank you all so much for coming. I sincerely appreciate you all. All right, now we are going to move on to Job chapter 40. Let's begin. Moreover, the Lord answered Job and said, Shall he that contendeth with the Almighty instruct him? He that reproveth God, let him answer it. Then Job answered the Lord and said, Behold, I am vile. What shall I answer thee? I will lay mine hand upon my mouth. Once have I spoken, but I will not answer. Yea, twice, but I will proceed no further. Then answered the Lord unto Job out of the whirlwind and said, Gird up thy loins now like a man. I will demand of thee, and declare thou unto me. Wilt thou also disannul by my judgment? Wilt thou condemn me, that thou mayest be righteous? Hast thou an arm like God, or canst thou thunder with a voice like him? Deck thyself now with majesty and excellency, and array thyself with glory and beauty. Cast abroad the rage of thy wrath, and behold every one that is proud, and abase him. Look on every one that is proud, and bring him low, and tread down the wicked in their place. Hide them in the dust together, and bind their faces in secret. Then will I also confess unto thee that thine own right hand can save thee. Behold now Behemoth, which I made with thee. He eateth grass as an ox. Lo now, his strength is in his loins, and his force is in his navel of his belly. He moveth his tail like a cedar. The sinews of his stones are wrapped together. Hold on there, guys. Come in, understand what is so they say. Let's read that again. Verse 15 says, Behold now Behemoth, that is Behemoth, which I made with thee. And Behemoth sounds like a type of God, don't laugh. But it's true. You know, when you read the Bible sometimes, you are like lost, like, what? What did he just say? Behemoth sounds like, you know, those like those big mammoth ox animals, those animals that look like the ox. They look like the bison. Yeah, those kinds of animals. This behemoth. So verse 15 says, Behold now Behemoth, which I made with thee, he eateth grass as an ox. Lo now, his strength is in his loins, and his force is in the navel of his belly. He moveth his tail like a cedar. The sinews of his stones are wrapped together. His bones are as strong pieces of brass. His bones are like bars of iron. He is the chief of the ways of God. He that made him can make his sword to approach unto him. Surely the mountains bring him forth food, where all the beasts of the field play. He lies under the shady trees, in the covert of the reed and fens. I don't know how this relates to Job, but this is supposedly the Lord talking to Job. So Tisha, what's up? How you doing, Tisha? Good morning, my love. I hope you're having a great Sunday morning. Good to see you all, my friends. Good to see you. Welcome into the Sunday morning live. Thank you all so much for stepping out. I sincerely appreciate you all. Okay, so we are going to continue. All right. Let us continue. Verse 20 says, and for those of you who are just coming, we are reading from the book of Job chapter 40, actually. Oh, it's 42. I'm sorry, guys. It's supposed to be Job chapter 40, 41, and 42. Don't ask me why I didn't see that there were 42 chapters, but I didn't. Let us continue. Verse 20. Surely the mountains bring him forth food, where all the beasts of the field play. He lies under the shady trees, in the covert of the reed and fence. The shady trees covers him with their shadow. The willows of the brook compass him about. Behold, he drinks up a river, and hasteth not. He trusteth that he can draw up Jordan into his mouth. Verse 24, and oh, you just leaving work. Oh, be safe, Tisha, be safe, my love. Verse 24, this is the last verse of chapter 40. He takes it with his eyes, his nose pierceth through snares. This is sort of a description of this behemoth, the sort of ox-like animal, yeah? This ox-like animal, yes, he rests in the shade, he drinks water from the river. All of this does sound like an ox, but I'm not sure. God, I'm not sure how this relates to Job. I guess God is just telling Job, I mean, these animals, you don't know how these animals do what they do, but this is what they do. They just walk around, eat grass, drink up water, tell themselves they can drink all of the River Jordan, lay in the grass and the reeds and get shade, and that is their life. So we're going to read chapter 41 and see whether or not there is some correlation or what is the relationship, I should say, between chapters 40 and 41. Yes, it is an ox. It's a cow. That's a cow's life. That's an ox's life. Yes, God, that's what I see here. That's an ox's life. But I was saying and how it relates to Job's life. I wasn't sure about that. But as we continue reading, like with lots of instances in the Bible, you can't just read one verse. You can't just read a few verses together to get the understanding of what it is saying. And sometimes you could read it 10 times and you could still not understand what it is saying, because right here it could have been referencing from somewhere else in the Bible, but I guess it is assuming that you have read the rest, that we have read the rest of it, and for this part here to make sense. But to me right now, it's just talking about an ox. Or it relates to Job. We are going to try to find out. All right. So let us read chapter 41. Job chapter 41. Canst thou draw out Leviathan with an hook, or his tongue with a cord which thou lettest down? Canst thou put an hook into his nose, or bore his jaw through with a thorn? Will he make many supplications unto thee? Will he speak soft words unto thee? Verse 4 says, will he make a covenant with thee? Wilt thou take him for a servant forever? Wilt thou play with him as with a bird? Or wilt thou bind him for thy maidens? Shall the companions make a banquet of him? Shall they part him among the merchants? Canst thou fill his skin with barbed irons, or his head with fish spears? Lay thine hand upon him. Remember the battle. do no more. Behold, the hope of him is in vain. Shall not one be cast down even at the sight of him? None is so fierce that dare stir him up. Who then is able to stand before me? Who hath prevented me that I should repay him? Whatsoever is under the whole heaven is mine. I will not conceal his parts, nor his power, nor his comely proportion. Who can discover the face of his garment? Or who can come to him with his double bridle? Who can open the doors of his face? His teeth are terrible round about. His scales are his pride, shut up together as with a closed seal. Hold on, let me see what God say. What God say? Leviathan is said to be a marine spirit. Really? Hold on there. Hold on there. Here I come. Here I come. So, Leviathan So, God says Leviathan is said to be a marine spirit, some kind of spirit that dwells in the water. According to Google, it says Leviathan is a sea serpent symbolizing Israel's enemies. In the book of Job, however, Leviathan is a fire-breathing crocodile, perhaps personifying an aspect of creation that is beyond human comprehension. Here we go again, finding something that we are yet to comprehend as human, or we may never ever be able to comprehend. In the book of Job, chapter 41, it says, "Canst thou draw out Leviathan with an hook?" And you hook fishes, right? So this tells us that would be a creature in the water, or his tongue with a cord which thou lettest down. Canst thou put an hook into his nose, or bore his jaw through with a thorn? Will he make many supplications unto thee? Will he speak soft words unto thee? Will he make a covenant with thee? That sounds like it is somehow personifying this creature for real. Because how you're going to make supplications with a creature that does not have the human intelligence of understanding? How are you going to make a covenant with them? But verse 4 says, "Will he make a covenant with thee? Wilt thou take him for a servant forever? Wilt thou play with him as with a bird? Or wilt thou bind him for thy maidens? Shall the companions make a banquet of him? Shall they part him among the merchants?" That means, can they catch him? Can they take him out of the water? Can they make a covenant with him? Can they sell him? Can people eat him? What can you do with him? I don't think anything. Canst thou fill his skin with barbed irons, or his head with fish spears? Lay thine hand upon him. Remember the battle. Do no more. Behold, the hope of him is in vain. Shall not one be cast down even at the sight of him? None is so fierce that dare stir him up. Who then is able to stand before me? So you see, God is saying nobody cannot stand in front of Leviathan. Leviathan is so fierce that nobody dare to try to catch him, to try to spare him. That must have been some ancient creature that human beings haven't come upon yet. Um, I don't think it's like a spirit. I think it's probably some kind of an animal that was some kind of a sea creature, water creature that was so fierce that everybody was afraid of him. Verse 11 says, who hath prevented me that I should repay him? Whatsoever is under the whole heaven is mine. I will not conceal his parts, nor his power, nor his comely proportion. God says some evil sea monster, I guess. Some kind of terrible water monster that everybody feared. Who can devour the face of his garment? Or who can come to him with his double bridle? Who can open the doors of his face? His teeth are terrible round about. His scales are his pride, shut up together as with a closed seal. One is so near to another that no air can come between them. Well, this is different from a crocodile, because if this one, his teeth are so close together, this Leviathan creature, his teeth are so close together that not even air can come between them. That means if he chomps down on you, all right, let us let us continue. Verse 16 says, one is so near to another that no air can come between them. And they're talking about Leviathan's teeth. They are joined one to another, they stick together, that they cannot be sundered. You hear that? So you cannot take away, you can't even remove one of Leviathan's teeth. This really does sound like some ancient creature, because not a crocodile, unless the crocodile's teeth have evolved. But a crocodile's teeth, you see, our crocodile's teeth are not so close together that they cannot come out one at a time. They are how they call them? The way all the crocodile's teeth are, they chomp down in between each other, so they sort of form a lock. So when it bites down on you, you can't get away. Verse 16 says, one is so near to another that no air can come between them. They are joined one to another, they stick together, that they cannot be sundered. By his neesings a light doth shine, and his eyes are like the eyelids of the morning. Out of his mouth go burning lamps, and sparks of fire leap out. That gotta be some kind of a dragon. I don't think that creature still exists. And when I see this word Nessings, it reminds me of the Loch Ness monster. You all have probably heard about this Loch Ness monster that they say roams some kind of lake, I think over there in London somewhere, where they are trying to catch it. Nobody can catch it. Nobody can they want to catch it so they can study it. Nobody can. Well, when I see the word Nessings here, it reminds me, it makes that comes to mind, the Loch Ness monster. Verse 90 says, out of his mouth go burning lamps, and sparks of fire leap out. Sounds like a dragon, right? Out of his nostrils goeth smoke, as out of a seething pot or cauldron. His breath kindleth coals, and a flame goeth out of his mouth. In his neck remaineth strength, and sorrow is turned into joy before him. The flakes of his flesh are joined together, they are firm in themselves, they cannot be removed. His heart is as firm as a stone, yea, as hard as a piece of the nether millstone. When he raiseth up himself, the mighty are afraid. By reason of breakings they purify themselves. The sword of them that lays at him cannot hold, the spear, the dart, nor the habergeon. So apparently nobody can kill him because his scales are so hard. They are together. His flesh is so tough. Nothing can spear him. His mouth is breathing fire coming out of his mouth and smoke coming out of his nostrils and his teeth. Just imagine how gnarly that creature looks. That creature lives in the water, and yet there is fire that's always coming out of its mouth. There is smoke always coming out of its nose. Its scales are fused together that they cannot be removed one by one. And it is so tough that nothing can spear it. Nothing. It seems like this creature is, nobody is able to kill this creature. This is an indomitable creature. Your spear cannot go through it. A dart cannot go through it. Not even a Bergion. Nothing. No spear. Nothing can go through it. What God say? God says Psalms 104 verse 20 and 27. All right. We're going to read that in a few days. But let us see what it says. Psalm 104 verse 20 and 20 to 27 says, Thou makest darkness, and it is night, wherein all the beasts of the forest do creep forth. The young lions roar after their prey, and seek their meat from God. The sun arises, they gather themselves together, and lay them down in their dens. Man goeth forth unto his work, and to his labor until the evening. O Lord, how manifold are thy works! In wisdom hast thou made them all. The earth is full of thy riches. So is this great and wide sea, wherein are things creeping innumerable, both small and great beasts. There go the ships. There is that Leviathan, whom thou hast made to play therein. Okay. God, I don't know what I would do without you. God bless you. These wait all upon thee, that thou mayest give them their meat in due season. So this Leviathan is referenced here again in the book of Psalm. Letitia said this is scary. It is scary. This is some scary creature. I don't think man has come upon him yet. Was it some kind of a water dinosaur? Um I'm not sure. But verse 27 of chapter 41 says, He esteemeth iron as straw, and brass as rotten wood. That's how strong he is. He can break pieces of iron as if they were straws, and brass. He can treat brass like a piece of rotten wood. That means he can just break it. This thing is immensely strong. The arrow cannot make him flee. Flintstones are turned with him into stubble. Darts are counted as stubble. He laughs at the shaking of a spear. Sharp stones are under him. He spreadeth sharp pointed things upon the mire. He makes the deep to boil like a pot. He maketh the sea like a pot of ointment. Oh, wow. He maketh a path to shine after him. One would think the deep to be hoary. Upon earth there is not his like, who is made without fear. He beholdeth all high things. He is a king over all the children of pride. God says, Psalm 74 and verse 14. Let's see. So he's going to be referencing Psalm quite a bit, I see. Psalm 17, 1, 2, 3, 4, and verse 14 says, Thou breakest the heads of Leviathan in pieces, and gavest him to be meat to the people inhabiting the wilderness. Oh, well, you know that we got to read the entire chapter to get the understanding of that. Thou breakest the heads of Leviathan in pieces, and gavest him to be meat to the people inhabiting the wilderness. All right. I don't know if that wilderness, if they are talking about the children of Israel after they left Egypt or going to the promised land, if that is the wilderness they are talking about. So I guess that was where I'm not going to guess. We are going to leave it right here. I'm just going to mark it. We are going to leave it right here because that might be where Leviathan met its demise. But those people were in the wilderness. They were not in the water. Because I don't know. But we are going to leave it right there because we don't want to confuse ourselves. We have come across the word, this Leviathan creature. And those of you who are here this morning, I think it would behoove you to go read up some literature on this Leviathan creature here, this indomitable creature that existed back then. If this creature never existed, the Bible wouldn't be talking about this creature. This creature that makes the sea boil because it has fire coming out of its mouth and smoke out of its nose. Its skin is so hard that it's not afraid of spears of iron or brass or any strong metal. It's not afraid of darts. It's not afraid of anything. You can spear it through its face, through its cheeks. Nothing. You can spear it through its eyes. You just cannot kill this creature. So I'm going to also have to look up and read some more about this kind of a creature. And here, with God's help, she's showing us here in the Bible where this creature is referenced again. They said that this creature was given as meat to the people in the wilderness. And so far, the only wilderness we have read about is the children of Israel staying in the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights, going as they traveled to the promised land. And if I remember correctly, according to the Bible, during that time, it said they were fed with manna. Y'all remember? That's what I read in the Bible. It said that for these 40 days and 40 nights, the children of Israel were fed with manna. Not manna, but manna. Yeah, they were fed with manna for this whole time. And so now in Psalm it says that they were given the meat of the Leviathan as they were in the wilderness. But we will continue our reading, because this is why I say it is imperative that every single Christian, every single person who believes in Christianity, regardless of your denomination, and if you follow anything in the Bible, I believe it is imperative that every single Christian read the Bible in its entirety at least once in their lifetime, because that is the only way that you are going to be able to understand the book that you follow, the book that you use to preach and teach, the book that has so much influence over your life. It is not fair that you must preach and teach and live by a book that has principles and precepts and commandments and distractions, and you name it, in there, that you know nothing about, but you preach and you teach from it. Does that make sense? I don't think it does. So I am here doing this. If you all are interested, for those of you who are new to the channel, which I have a lot of new people, this is the place for you just about every morning. If you don't want to read it because you can't be bothered, then you can get on your phone. You don't have to sit there with your eyes in the book. I'll read and you listen. But I think that every single Christian need to need to read the Bible at least once in their lifetime and be aware of what is in the Bible. I want to stop walk around and I tell people this, that in the Bible. I want to never ever read the whole book. I want to just grab a verse here, grab a verse there, grab a verse under there, grab a verse over there, and trying to throw it on people and throw it down people's throats. We all grew up with that. We have found stories in the Bible that we were never told the story was like it was. Why were they trying to omit some parts of the story? I don't know. Because they know that if you want to hide something from us, they got to put it in a book. So they put it in the Bible, keeps it hidden from us, and confuses us by telling us to run one way when we should have gone the other way. That's all I'm going to say about that for this morning. But I still stand by that every single Christian need to have read the Bible at least once in their lifetime. A book can't be so influential on your life, that you only, it's so influential, yet you only read a psalm here. Some people only know the Our Father prayer and they don't even know the words properly. But you can't tell them nothing. They will preach to you and tell you what is in the Bible from what is not. And they never read it. You gotta grab them by the... God, you crazy. You ladies are crazy. Yeah, but we might laugh about it, but it is true. It is true. If you are in school and you study nursing, you got to be reading nursing books, and you can't just grab the book and just read one verse, one chapter, one paragraph in the book, and then say, "Oh well, you know nursing, you are a nurse." No, you got to read the entire book. You got to read the book. You got to read the chapters, and where they're talking about the body systems. You got to read it and understand it for yourself. Then you can explain it to others. All right? Okay, gentle people. So let us move right along. We are going to move on now to chapter 42. And this is the last chapter of the book of Job. When we are done today, tomorrow when we come back, we will start if they just say if they have one or two. We don't know if we don't know. No, yeah. It's true. It's true. Now we need to understand that. And I think that a lot of people would be better human beings and better Christians if they took the time out to read the Bible for themselves rather than be told what is in the Bible. Because remember, we are still on our quest to determine, you know, whether the contents of the Bible, where we start and where we end. We are still, remember, we have not come to that conclusion yet. For those of you who have been here with me since the beginning when we started reading the Bible, we have not come to that conclusion yet, because until now I don't see anything in the Bible that says I shouldn't, if I consider myself to be a descendant of the tribe of Israel, that I cannot say that the Lord sent me to come knock you over the head and take your piece of land. Uh-huh. Okay? But we are going to continue reading. Guys, follow me in your book Bible or your Google Bible, and let us continue the reading here. We are on to Job chapter 42. Then Job answered the Lord and said, I know that thou canst do everything, and that no thought can be withholden from thee. Who is he that hideth counsel without knowledge? Therefore have I uttered that I understood not, things too wonderful for me, which I knew not. Hear, I beseech thee, and I will speak. I will demand of thee, and declare thou unto me. I have heard of thee by the hearing of the ear, but now mine eyes seeth thee. Wherefore I abhor myself, and repent in dust and ashes. And it was so, that after the Lord had spoken these words unto Job, the Lord said to Eliphaz the Temanite, My wrath is kindled against thee, and against thy two friends. Now remember Eliphaz was one of Job's three friends who had come to see him and were so worried for him that he was, covered in sores, and he was looking so gnarly. And nobody wanted to sit with him. Nobody wanted to eat with him because of how he looked. And Eliphaz was one of those people who practically and reasonably was saying to Job, you keep saying to yourself that you are serving this God. Why is your God causing you this much pain? Why is your God causing you this much suffering? And those are practical questions. So, but now, God said, so Job saw the Lord. That's what it looks like here. It looks like he spoke to God, because the Lord spoke to him in chapter 41. And then in chapter 42, he says, Then Job answered the Lord and said, I know that thou canst do everything, and that no thought can be withholden from thee. So Job is acknowledging to God that I know you know my thoughts. And even if I hadn't said anything, you would still know what I was thinking. Who is he that hides counsel without knowledge? Therefore have I uttered that I understood not, things too wonderful for me, which I knew not. Hear, I beseech thee. Now this is Job talking to the Lord. Hear, I beseech thee, and I will speak. I will demand of thee, and declare thou unto me. I have heard of thee by the hearing of the ear, but now mine eye seeth thee. So, to answer your question, Card, the answer is yes. If we are to go by Job 42 and verse 5. Verse 6 says, wherefore I abhor means hate for those of you, abhor. Therefore I abhor myself and repent in dust and ashes. Verse 7 says, and it was so that after the Lord had spoken these words unto Job, the Lord said to Eliphaz the Temanite. God says, I'm speaking. Yes, that's what I was speaking about too, sweetheart. I said according to chapter 42 and verse 5, Job says, but now mine eyes seeth thee. So if you were to go by that, I would say the answer is yes. My wrath is kindled. Now this is the Lord speaking to Eliphaz, Job's friend. He says, my wrath is kindled against thee and against thy two friends, for he have not spoken of me the thing that is right, as my servant Job had. I mean, could you blame those men though? I wouldn't blame them for having the questions that they had. Those were not natural questions. Verse 8 says, therefore, take unto you now 7 bullocks and 7 rams, and go to my servant Job, and offer up for yourselves a burnt offering, and my servant Job shall pray for you. For him will I accept, lest I deal with you after your folly, in that he have not spoken of me the thing which is right, like my servant Job. So Eliphaz the Temanite, and Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite went and did according as the Lord commanded them. The Lord also accepted Job. God says, Exodus 33 verse 20. What I say? Exodus 33 verse 20 says, and he says, thou canst not see my face, for there shall no man see me. God, oh my gosh, I don't know what I would do without you. I thank you so much, my love. Okay, so that is interesting, because that is another of the controversies that we have found, and I didn't even remember that. You see that, guys? That's why I tell you that I have decided not to just sit by myself and read the Bible, but to share it with you all, because we all will feed off each other, and whatever I don't remember, somebody else will. And I sincerely appreciate God for not just being here, but being my memory box most of the times, and I appreciate it. Because here for real in chapter 33 of the Exodus, it says, he said, thou canst not see my face, for there shall no man see my face and live. Yet over here in Job chapter 42 and verse 5, he says, I have heard of thee by the hearing of the ear, but now mine eye seeth thee. So Job seen, but Job didn't die. Food for thought there. Verse 9, he says, to Eliphaz and to Bildad and Zophar, these were Job's friends. He told them to bring 7 bullocks and 7 rams and go to Job to get, for Job to pray for them and for Job to perform a sacrifice for them, because they were so wrong in trying to convince him that he should, in trying to convince Job that Job should abandon his thoughts about his God, just turn his back on his God, like, since your God has been so quote unquote so cruel to you in causing this affliction, on you. Verse 10 says, and the Lord turned the captivity of Job when he prayed for his friends. Also, the Lord gave Job twice as much as he had before. Then came there unto him all his brethren, and all his sisters, and all they that had been of his acquaintances before, and did eat bread with him in his house. And they bemoaned him, and comforted him over all the evil that the Lord had brought upon him. And here, that the Lord had brought upon him. Every man also gave him a piece of money, and every one an earring of gold. So, in fact, it was the Lord that brought all of this affliction on Job. But you remember that in the beginning of the book of Job, when the Lord spoke to Satan, he told Satan he can do whatever he wants to do to Job as long as he does not take Job's life. And Satan did cause Job to have all these sores and wounds and lose his children and his cattle and his servants and be reduced to a mere mendicant, if you ask me. You know, he was reduced to just about gone. He had gone from a very wealthy and well-respected man to somebody that nobody even wanted to talk to because he was so smelly, and the sores and all this purulent drainage and all of this. So nobody wanted to eat with him. Nobody wanted to sit with him. He was also depressed because he had lost his children, lost his home, lost his servants, lost his animals. He had lost just about everything. So he was like a homeless person covered in sores. Who goes to sit and eat with a homeless person who was sores all over? I wouldn't. You wouldn't either. No matter how rich they were before, or how much of a respectable person they were before. Once they have been reduced to that, you don't want to go sit with them and have a meal with them anymore. So that was Job's plight. But now it says, verse 11 says, then came there unto him all his brethren, and all his sisters, and all that had been of his acquaintance before, and they did eat bread with him in his house, and they bemoaned him, and comforted him over all the evil that the Lord had brought upon him. Every man also gave him a piece of money, and every one an earring of gold. So the Lord blessed the latter and of Job. So the Lord blessed the latter end of Job more than his beginnings, for he had 14,000 sheep, and 6,000 camel, and 1,000 yoke of oxen, and 1,000 she-asses. He had also 7 sons and 3 daughters, and he called the name of the first Jemimah. Oh, Aunt Jemimah. Okay. And he called the name of the first Jemimah, and the name of the second Keziah, and the name of the third Keren Hapush. And in all the land were no woman found so fair as the daughters of Job, and their father gave them inheritance among their brethren. So here Job, you remember back in those days, you know, the daughters were not given inheritance. Their inheritance was supposed to come from their husbands. But those of you who have been here, you remember we read about Zelophehad. Zelophehad was the man who had the 5 daughters, and he had died in the wilderness of Zin when they were traveling through the wilderness to go to the promised land. When they got outside of the wilderness, just before they would go across the river Jordan to the promised land, Moses was issuing land. Moses was giving them land, lots of land, right out on the east side of the river Jordan. And Zelophehad's daughters weren't being given any because Zelophehad had died and he had no sons. I'm just reiterating this because we have gone over this several times before. And because of that, his daughters were not happy. And they went to Moses. Yeah, Moses, what in the world is going on here? Our father didn't have any sons for sure for you to give his portion to. But he has daughters. And what? We cannot own anything. But the law at the time said that they shouldn't, women wouldn't be given an inheritance. But then Moses considered what Zelophehad's daughters were saying to him, and he decided that after all, well, yes, he was going to change the laws to accommodate the Zelophehad's daughters. So he changed the laws at that time to say that women could inherit their father's possession after their father's death if the father had no sons. So here, Job is giving inheritance to his daughters. But it was the Lord who told Moses to break the law and give the daughters an inheritance. Well, then, yes, I mean, Moses brought it to the Lord. He says he does everything else. He brought it to the Lord and to the council. He brought it to the council to get guidance as to what he should do, about the situation. Because remember, it was a law by which they had been living for generations, forever. So he, like with everything else new, he would seek counsel from the other councilmen. They would get together and decide. They would ask God, what should they do? And they had made that decision that it was only fair that they give Zelophehad's daughters his portion, even though they were women and the laws were to the contrary at that time. All right. Let us continue. It says, after this, verse 15 of chapter 42 says, and in all the land there are no women found so fair as the daughters of Job, and their father gave them inheritance among their brethren. So Job here came out victorious in the end, because after all that suffering, the Lord stepped in. He restored Job to his health. He restored all of Job's inheritance. Job ended up having more than he had before. He ended up having more than he had before he was afflicted. Uniquely, Nika, what's up? How are you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. What's going on with you? How are you doing, my love? Woo, stop it. How are you doing, Nika? Good to see you, my love. Happy Sunday to you as well. Happy Sunday to you, my love. I hope you're having a great Sunday morning. We are currently reading the book of Job. We are on the end of it, actually, reading just about the last verse we are here on. I am doing great, my love. I am wonderful. Every day is wonderful when you are vertical. Every day is wonderful when you are vertical. All right, so many people didn't wake up this morning, so we are grateful that we are up. Yeah, I am grateful that I am up, awake, and alive this morning. All right, we are currently on the last chapter of the book of Job. For those of you who have been with us, we have been reading the Bible from the beginning. We started just about a year and something ago. We had stopped for several months, so so we missed out a little bit. We probably would have been finished by now, but we're taking it one day at a time. And every morning we gather here and we read a part of the Bible. We're reading from the beginning to the end, and we are currently finishing up the book of Job. Tomorrow we will start the book of Psalm. But for today's reading, we came across the controversy, if you will, because in chapter 42 of the book of Job and verse 5, Job acknowledges that he has seen the Lord. However, as God pointed out in the book of Exodus, the Lord had said that no man shall see him, because anybody who sees him will have to die. I am going to go back and read the circumstances under which he said that, and then when we come back tomorrow, we will talk about it before we move into the book of Psalm. Verse 16 of chapter 42 of the book of Job says, after this, that means after Job's restoration, Job lived 140 years. So after his restoration, he lived 140 years. That was 140 years added to the number of years he had before. And saw his sons and his sons' sons. He saw 4 generations. Verse 17. So Job died, being old and full of days. Of course, yes, he would have been very old, because if he lived to be 140, if he lived 140 years after the time when he was afflicted, and he was afflicted as an old man, he must have died very, 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 very old. And verse 17 said, Job died being old and full of days. All right, this is the end of the reading of Job chapter 42, and this is the end of the reading of the book of Job for this morning. There is so much to learn from Job. There is so much to learn about his will to live, his perseverance, his determination, his faithfulness, his loyalty. There is so much to learn from him. And even if you do not want to believe in the Bible, there are messages in these stories that can be used. These messages transcend generations, and you can always use these life lessons in our own lives to make us better. Because what we try to be is to be better. We are not in a competition with anybody. We are not here trying to indoctrinate anyone. And that is why I always say that when I read the Bible, we are not endorsing any particular religion or denomination. We are reading it for ourselves. And I say this all the time, that even if you're not a Christian, or you don't believe in God, you don't believe in the Bible, the message from these stories can still help to make you better, be a better human being. Because I don't think, even if you don't believe in God, you should desire to be a terrible human being. I don't think you should desire to hurt and harm and scar the lives of other human beings. I don't think that should be your objective. And because these lessons are not teaching you to be a terrible person, I am all for these lessons, because of the teachings therein. You may not agree with me, and that is okay. I mean, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and everybody is not going to agree with me, and that is perfectly fine, because in this life, we have to be able to live with the agreements and the disagreements. We have to be able to live with the people who love us and those who don't, without having such thoughts as to injure them. We can survive, regardless whether or not people like us or not. But we all have an opinion, and it is okay for us to state our opinions. So if you don't agree with me, that is perfectly fine. but this is just how I feel. But we are going to be continuing to read the Bible. We will be starting the book of Psalm tomorrow. So those of you who are here, come out with me. We're going to have to start this early in the morning because, tomorrow is the day when just about everybody goes back to school. So tomorrow, because everybody is going back to school tomorrow, we won't be here reading the Bible at 8:52 in the morning. We would have done this way, way, way earlier. We would have done this. We're going to be doing this early in the morning before many of you are awake. But when you wake up, you can always come back and listen to it. And guys, I'm not just to say this, like on my channel, I don't keep on following up on this on my times, but I do take note of note of the times that my people are awake. So I used to get up at I do get up at 4 every morning, but I used to start the reading at 4 in the morning, and I noticed that when I start the reading at 4 o'clock, between 4 and 6 o'clock, and I end it, say I start at 4, I end at say 5:30, or any time between that 2 hour period between 4 and 6, y'all are asleep. Y'all are sound asleep at that time. Sometimes they'll be like one person, 2 people, 3 people in there, and that same live could see 10, 13 people going back to listen to it. But whenever I come, like at 7 o'clock in the morning, between 7 and 9, y'all are awake, and I get to see a lot of you. But the thing is, I can't always come at this time. So I would beg of you that when I put up the live 4 o'clock in the morning and you wake up in the morning, it is all right to just turn it on and listen to what was being read while you were sound asleep. Fair enough? Fair enough. All right. So with that being said, we are going to close off this morning. I'm going to run on out of here, take my grandbabies to sleep, and I will see you all later when I come back. All right, guys. So happy Sunday to you all. I hope you all have yourselves a great, great, great day. I will see you all later on today. Have yourselves a great day, guys, and thanks to each and every one of you who came into the live this morning. Thank you, God, so much for your contribution, for always keeping me on my toes with remembering what we've read and keeping up with the knowledge. I sincerely appreciate you, my darling sister. Uniquely Nika was here. Joseph was here. My sister Tisha was here as well. And several other people were here. I know a lot of people did not say anything. They're still in the background. I sincerely appreciate you either way. Guys, if you did not hit the like button on your way in, don't forget to hit the like button on your way out. And once again, I want to say thanks to everybody who came into the live. Go ahead now, guys, and have yourself a great Sunday. Until next time, this is Trev from Trevessence, where your journey matters. Have a great day, guys.